Sometimes we review Mythic Plus keys that are really funny. Sometimes we review Mythic Plus keys that are really interesting. Sometimes we review Mythic Plus keys that are educational. Very rarely do we review Mythic Plus keys that the entire purpose of me making the video is to expose players' behavior. Welcome to another installment in that series. Today I'm going to show you an extremely short key that has one very important interaction in it. But first we need to set the stage a little bit. We are taking a look at Eve, another actual streamer, been streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and all kinds of stuff. She's been doing Mythic Plus pugging a lot as a holy priest, and I think this is her best season. I don't know. I mean, maybe she'll comment, but seeing a lot of 12s there on the character sheet, you can actually see 2800 right now, got all 11s, couple double upgrade 11s, and working on 12s right now on the way to maybe 3K. If you have any questions or need any help, I will be happy to help you. Please let me know, but I'm glad to see you succeeding out there. I know in past seasons you had fallen short of your goals. So we are listing our own key, which I would definitely recommend, especially if you are struggling to get into groups, which you might be doing as a holy priest. But we make a unfortunate cardinal sin here. Okay, we've talked a lot about this over the years, and I have actually reviewed this exact situation, the exact situation that you're going to run into here many times, and it always goes the same way.
Oh, dude, why do you have to be a monk tank? Okay.
The cardinal sin of Mythic Plus pugging is inviting a duo, especially when one of them is wildly different than the other two. We have a hunter who is 675 item level at 3047 score. It looks like we have a warlock who is 671 item level at just under 3k score. And then we have a brewmaster tank who is 660 item level. I'm pretty sure that number says 2600 and something. Substantially lower than the two people he's in a group with, and that is a major red flag for a lot of reasons. First of all, I always look at a trio especially, but even a duo or higher, as a red flag. This is because I have ran into many groups who queue as a group and stay as a group when they're in the larger group. I've ran into this for many years from my time as a raid leader as well. Whenever you invite a duo, they are going to be a clique immediately. You invited a clique into your group, and that is social death for this cohesion, because you need everybody to assimilate. You need everybody to be on the same page, and you need them to be open to potentially receiving criticism, to potentially failing things, and not immediately looking for a scapegoat. This is exactly what a duo or a trio are going to do. They are born to do this because they are probably all in Discord together. They're going to be making comments about the run, and of course, when anything goes wrong, they are very unlikely to blame each other. So that means when you have a trio, you really only have two other options, and of course, with two of them being DPS and one the tank, that means it's probably going to be on you as the healer, the person who chose to invite them. So that's the first of 3 red flags. The second red flag is that there are people in this group who do not need this key for score, and that is a major red flag for me. On top of the fact that they're now in Discord talking about the key they don't need for score, they're also going to have a different mindset than people who do need it for score, one way or the other, regardless of why they're doing it. Sometimes you run into people who are just like testing stuff, but obviously in this case, they're here because of what is going to become the third red flag. But let's actually examine the characters that don't need this key for score really quick. Here is the hunter. This is the guy who definitely doesn't need this key for score. This guy's well above 3k, and of course, if you've done keys this season, you know that 3k does not need 12s at this point. The guy's 3k when he enters the group. He has probably done Dark Flame Cleft many times above 12, the easiest dungeon, and yeah, as you can see, hasn't needed this key for score for over 5 weeks, so well before the turbo boost. This player also doesn't need the key for score. At the time they signed up, they were not yet 3k, so that's good, at least they got it, but not needing it for score for over 5 weeks is a really easy key, and this is another kind of thing that you got to consider here when you're doing a key that has a lot of invite potential. You can wait for the optimal picks. Now we come to the third red flag, and that is this player. In fact, they might be third, fourth, fifth, sixth red flag. I don't know however many times you want to enumerate this red flag, because there's a lot going on. So we have this player here who is ultimately going to become the problem in the key and the reason we're making the video. But before that, we noticed that this is extremely low compared to the two people that he is in a party with. So that tells you right out of the gate are probably being boosted by their friends. A lot of times people will sign up to keys hoping to get an invite because of the people in the group with them, right? Like, this player is not going to be invited to this key. Obviously, you're not going to look for a brewmaster tank. She even reacts to that, first of all, which is hilarious on its own. So anyway, this guy's not even 2700 doing keys with people who are 3k. We could look at his sheet. He actually has no 12s upgraded other than this one workshop. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this was before or after he signed up. I think this did happen before he signs up to this, but one way or the other, there's only a single 12 on the sheet. You probably wouldn't notice this if you're in the game, but here's kind of like I was saying, like the extra red flags adding up. This is actually an alt of another tank. So actually kind of just feeding back into the previous red flag here, where we're now playing with a guy who's 3,200 on his main, playing an alt. This alone is bad, in my opinion. Like inviting somebody who's got a really high main tank on a different tank usually is bad news. And I'm gonna tell you this as somebody who's done this myself. Like I play a Blood Death Knight exclusively, and then I play another tank, and I have sometimes problems translating what I did on the main to the alt. This is a big reason why I stopped playing alts, and I definitely would look at my tank alts as like actually less successful than even playing like a healer alt, because it's like a fresh perspective, and I don't come in with that kind of bias like, oh well, I have death grip here, what do I have on this character, where you're constantly kind of comparing the two tanks, and you're just going to lose every comparison that you make because of that. So TLDR, don't press that button. Don't invite these people. It's a terrible decision, and it literally pays out like in dividends. Like we're talking about within minutes we learned that we made a mistake. How crazy is this? The final invite to the key is actually a friend of hers, so this is kind of crazy. It's basically her and a friend versus these three guys. Maybe a 12th red flag coming up here. We have a little bit of chat going on, and I guess it's whatever. I mean, obviously, like it's great to tell your party to repair if they are going to have problems with that, but I think it's kind of funny how it plays out. The tank says repair, talking to the hunter who just joined. You're at 68% durability. 68%? Is that really that big of a deal? Okay, all right. But anyway, sure. Repair your gear. I recommend doing that. From now on, I'm going to show you this unedited. I'm going to let you guys watch this the way it unfolds, and we will come back and comment on it afterwards.
Okay, food. Okay. Oh, that's me. I'm going to do food again just because 13 minutes. 13 minutes on flask too.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, okay, so, oh, now it's a green box. Okay. Okay. That's every so often. I definitely copied these long in from more in blah, blah. Thank you so much. I'm also nervous because it's a monk tank and I'm
Empowered.
I gotta fade.
Watch your step.
Empowered.
AoE.
I can't see.
Your survival wasn't
Oh my
necessary.
gosh. Okay, well, that didn't go well. He's pulling them back to the beginning.
AoE.
I'm gonna land right here. Tank's not releasing yet. Like, yeah, I might as well just die.
Watch your step.
What is he gonna say to me now? He just said, Eve, are you retarded? He called me retarded. He totally called me retarded. Apparently I am. That was my key. Oh, now it's an 11.
This screen cap actually goes really far too, because on top of this just absolute nonsense comment by somebody who runs all the way around the corner, then line of sights the healer as they're struggling to get in range as a brewmaster that they probably have no hope of surviving this alone on. You also could notice that the warlock has already left. They've already left the group. Okay, that's not surprising, of course. So this guy says this, and I would imagine if there was a follow-up comment, the follow-up comment from him should be, why did you invite us? That's what I would imagine. Asking this person that, and then asking, why the hell did you invite us? this. This was always going to go this way. First pack has actually been a big consternation for me as well, and I still haven't found like a perfect way to handle it. In the beginning of the season, we were kind of pulling it up into this room, and there was a bunch of people, both in my stream and in Key, saying like, you're an idiot, you got to pull them back. Why would you pull them ahead? Like, oh, okay, so I started doing that. There's always one guy who just like refuses to wait, gets threat on them as they come in, ends up dying, so I stopped doing that. Now we go into the room, people are slow to get into the room, interrupts aren't going out, people are getting hit as they're on their way in, okay? Unfortunately, this pack just sucks. I don't know what the actual X factor is here. I don't know how to make this pack not suck, but it just kind of sucks. But it doesn't suck for me because I know I can solo this pack. It's very, very easy to survive this pack. There's no real danger to this pack. Happy to even just get hit by the knockback as a Blood Death Knight. I can survive it very, very easily. I would imagine Vengeance probably can too, right? I would imagine that based on the fact that this guy's done 15 in this dungeon. He probably thinks this is a very, very easy to survive pack. Never done this on 12 on this character, perhaps, or maybe he's done it and failed it multiple times, but never actually succeeded upgrading this key on 12, doing it for the first time on an alt that is relatively famously known for being a bad tank right now. I think there's some relaxation of that now. I think it's looked at as like a little bit better, but yeah, for a long time it was looked at as the squishy ass tank, and that is crazy because Brewmaster historically is the best passive mitigator. Also might be a little bit of like a little tug of war ego struggle. You never know. We always just like to extrapolate on this kind of stuff, so who knows if this is actually going on. But they're in Discord. Maybe they're saying like, oh bro, can you just hop on your Demon Hunter, man? Like, I don't know, can we just do keys or maybe push a little bit? This guy's like, no bro, I got this, I'm a pro. I mean, who knows? You never know what's going on here, but this reaction is astounding to me. It really is astounding to me because when you see this comment get made after this decision, after this exact series of events go on in a dungeon that, I mean, has been looked at as the easiest dungeon in the entire season for 12, 13 weeks now, right? You have to wonder, like, are you looking in the mirror, brother? Like, is this actually just you being frustrated with your own gameplay when you say this comment to somebody? And then the funny thing is just leave immediately after. Like, you say this comment, you just leave immediately after. I don't know. She does ignore him. She does report him. Great choice, by the way. Definitely recommend that. Yeah, we don't get to see what comes next, unfortunately. That's why I always don't do those things, because you never know what other holes these guys are going to dig themselves. So yeah, if you run into this guy out in the wild, I mean, you're not going to fucking invite this guy. This guy's 2,700. It like looks like a boost. He looks like he paid for this shit, didn't he? I mean, I don't think he did based on the actual compositions here. His friends are in this key too, by the way. Luckily, this one worked out. I can only imagine how many keys they prey on at this point with this kind of behavior. We would never invite somebody this low of item level. This guy's actually even lower than it was in game. 657 on the character sheet here. Not even 2,700 signing up to 12s. But you might run into this guy. You might run into this guy. Probably running into a Demon Hunter tank. You think, hey, that's a pretty good pick. We like Demon Hunter. Just keep an eye on it, all right? We have seen this so many times. In fact, Cop has submitted multiple, I think, of this point, but we saw the one from Dilly. Anytime you invite a group of people, you are inviting this into your key, okay? Now, obviously, it's not going to happen all the time, and I'm sure people are going to come out of the woodwork, as they always do, saying, like, we're altruistic group of people. We are there only to assimilate into the greater pug setting, but I think you're really going to have a hard time convincing me of that no matter what, because no matter what actually occurs, when failure happens in the game, it is hard to internalize. It's hard to internalize for me, and I'm very conscious of it, you know what I mean? So I'd imagine these people who are less conscious of it are definitely going to have a hard time, and when their friends are back there patting their back like, you did nothing wrong, bro, this is the response. So one way or the other, you learn your lesson, but Eve, keep working on it. If you have any questions, let me know. You are crushing it this season. I'm really glad to see you succeeding. Really cool to see you doing it as Holy Priest as well. Her link is going to be down below. You guys should check her out too, because she's been grinding, trying to get streaming going, doing YouTube stuff as well. She's got a really interesting thing going on where she kind of does some writing as well and incorporates that into her streams. Just wholesome, chill shit. So maybe go check it out. But anyway, definitely don't check these guys out. Definitely keep recording your runs. And if you guys run into stuff like this, please, please, please send it in. I ask you to, again, to submit the funny, the educational, the interesting, whatever you guys submit it, I'll take a look at it. But if you run into people like this who should be actioned and who are behaving in a way that is totally unacceptable for this video game, especially now in 2025 with the code of conduct and all this other stuff, I will do everything in my power to expose this behavior. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.